All right, ladies, we are back in the shop again. This is another week of working on this 12 valve build here. Hopefully we're gonna make some good progress and be well on our way of putting this thing back together this week. But we kind of just gotta see. I know one of the main orders of business is these axles. We have to get those out and get the other one swapped in that he's got. I think we might have to replace some pinion seals or something, I don't know. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll be just a pretty straightforward swap on those though. And we're also gonna drop the truck down a bit and make it where it's nowhere near as monster trucky. But anyways, this week while I was off at work, the boys kind of worked. Nathan's been working at KDD. They've got the head there, doing a little bit of port work on it. They are surfacing the head, O-ringing it, things like that. Also, as you can see, Alex got the head cleaned up and painted this week. So it looks like someone just above average got a hold of a spray can, but we'll let it ride. No, I'm just messing. Doesn't look bad. Like I said, it'll do good blending with this black engine bay. Then, as you can see behind me, we got Tim's truck here. That's actually gonna be the first order of business. Got a little bit of wiring to touch up on it. We are putting some gauges in it for him. We were working on some bugs that the truck had, some small stuff like that, but we're getting it wrapped up to hopefully hit a testing soon this weekend if the weather plays out. But anyways, we'll see how far we get and go from there. All right, so of course we jump into this and run right into freaking issues. Seems like one thing after the other. So as you see, we've got the pod is got all the gauges in it, wires ran, everything's kind of consolidated where all the grounds will run to one ground and lights, the light powers run, you know, to one, things like that. So got all the sensors or bungs or whatever needed in place where they're gonna be. The lift pump pressure is just gonna be off the lift pump itself. The trans temp is coming out of the pan, and I'm not sure where I'm gonna do boost at yet. I believe on the grid heater delete plate we put on here, it's got a port. I like to put it there because it'll kind of hide it, but I don't know, we'll figure that out in a minute. But came inside the cab so I could go ahead and get the gauges in here and get the wires ran so I could start, you know, kind of figuring out where I want to route things. And of course, things want to be a little bit of a pain. As you see from the factory, you've got these little nutsert deals, and yeah, the top one. Yeah, so it was at some point somebody had grilled it down a little bit too much and spun the nutsert in there and it wouldn't grab, and so trying to get it out was a freaking pain. So ended up bending up the A-pillar a little bit to get it out, but as you can see, I took and kind of lightly tapped her back into place a little bit. Luckily, I mean, you can't see this anyways, but tapped it back into place and got a nutsert back in it, same size as the one down here. So that way it should tighten back up the way that it was from the factory. Oh yeah, drop her down low, girl. What do you think?
I'm a Peterbilt. My head's just barely over the window.
All right, guys, so we are going to pretty much call it here for the week here in the shop. Made a decent bit of progress. We ran into a few roadblocks, but all in all, it was a pretty productive week. So in the beginning, like I said, we started out on Tim's truck. There was a few things. We found some issues at Truck Wars. So we had the truck back here. We went through, we fixed what issues we could. Got a trans refresh because it had some issues with that. He was trialing a few things in it and didn't like how it turned out. So we pulled the trans back out for him. They went through it. He set everything how he wanted it, put it back in. Truck seems to be driving fine. We also went ahead and installed gauges in it and a couple little odds and ends. But anyways, truck is back to him now. If you remember, the bed was rusted out pretty good. And so he has his local paint guys. We found him a bed, and those guys have painted the bed, got it back on the truck. It's looking really good. We'll have some more videos to show you guys of it here in the near future, I'm sure. But anyways, got that one out. And as you can see back here, through the mess and wreck on this end of the shop, Brandon's truck is in the shop. I know it's going to be kind of hard to tell right this minute, but it is mostly back together. But what we had going on, we talked before about his secondary pump that was over here in his dual fueler kit was leaking. It was leaking in the, I guess, one of the O-rings or seals on the back side of the housing. So he decided now would be as good a time as ever to go ahead and step up to a big boy pump. So we went ahead and he got the dual fuelers off of it. We got him a S&S 14 mil pump, got that put on. And now all he did was went ahead and pulled off all the piping that he wanted to get redone. And the boys at KDD are going to be repowdering that for him. And then the truck will be back together and should be back roadworthy and having fun again. But anyways, as of now, truck is back ready to run. Just waiting on some powder, and the truck will be out of the shop and back on its way. And then on to Alex's 12 valve here. So as we showed in the last video, this thing has been getting a lot of progress done to it over the last couple weeks. And like I said, this week, had a few issues, some things holding us up, but nothing major. But we'll kind of run over what we got done and what we're going to be looking at moving forward. So as we showed in an earlier clip, we got a set of Kirkies mounted in here. He went ahead and got the black seat covers, and these things are actually really comfy. There's a good bit of foam in them. Makes a big difference. But anyways, we were able to mount them to the factory sliders. Of course, you can't see it from here, but here on the driver's side, you can see we mounted it to the factory slider. Of course, you don't lose as much weight, but it is still nice to have the electronic functions here. And we got the Maverick diesel shifter mount that mounts to the base right there. So the only thing with this, not knocking the guy's design at all, it is nice, but it's a little bit wobbly. And it's not the shifter's fault. It's the actual base to the seat that's moving. So we're probably going to make a little bit of a brace to like come up from the back side here to try to help hold it and keep it from wobbling as bad, hopefully. But overall, it's pretty nice. Speaking of the boys from Maverick Diesel, we also got their transmission brace for this truck, or cross member, or however you want to word it. I don't think I have any clips of it in here, actually. You can kind of see it here. Anyways, it bolts in the factory place in the frame, and it's got bushings on each side with a single bolt that goes through. That way it should be easier to get out next time. As any of you second gen guys know, it's kind of a pain getting those cross members out of these trucks. So that should make it a whole lot easier going forward. When you get to a truck of this caliber, unfortunately, transmissions do have to come out from time to time. But hopefully it's one of these deals that'll be like every other year, just a basic refresh, but we'll see. But speaking of transmissions, as you can see in that other clip, the transmission is in. The boys at TRE hooked us up. So this truck basically got a trans that's pretty much the norm for this shop, it seems like. So it got a Santjer solid input as always. It's got a Muldoon's full manual valve body with the switch shifter. It's got a billet intermediate, fat output, and of course it was assembled by the guys up at TRE like always. So not expecting to see any issues out of that at all. And then as you could also see, the engine is back in its home. So we did go ahead and put a few of the Kingspeed billet goodies on here, but the head is still at KDD getting machined. We're waiting now on those guys to knock out the valve job for it, and then the head will be back and we'll be ready to finish assembly on this motor. As for the fuel system, the injectors aren't going to be here, but we have a set we're going to throw in it for the time being. And also the pump is a stage 4 12 mil pump from Farrell, and that should be here later this week, and that'll be going on as well. Then back here on the ass end of the truck, as you can see, we got shock mounts in and welded up. We've got the fuel cell in and welded up, and everything cleaned and painted back here. One thing I did forget to mention, this truck had 410 gears in it, and Alex had actually bought a, I guess, donor truck or whatever you want to call it, parts truck that had 354s in it, I believe is what they were. So anyways, we swapped those out, got rid of the 410s and put the other gears, or I say the other gears, swapped the axles and put them in here. So he has the other gears in it now, and should be a lot better for the racing purposes. So going forward, we have to make up all of the lines, the trans cooler lines, fuel lines, coolant lines, all that stuff has to be made up. Once the head is here, we've got to build the piping for the turbos. As you can see here, we've got the Godfather from the boys at Stainless Diesel sitting here on the hoist. It's ready to be mocked up and everything plumbed up for it. This truck will be getting a knuckle sandwich on it, so that's gonna be pretty interesting. I'm sure it'll sound very similar to a jet taking off, but anyways, interested to see how it does. But anyways, we have to get that knocked out. Cow tracks will be here later this week. We've got to get those on. We've got to get shock measurements, get those on the way, get the truck at ride height. A lot of, you know, buttoning things up. Got to go in the coming week, got to do all of the wiring on the truck. So anyways, we're really hoping to get a lot of work knocked out this coming week as far as getting it close to run. So we'll see. Like I said, we made some progress this week, ran into a few roadblocks, but nothing major. So anyways, you know, nothing really interesting to watch this week other than us throwing some parts together on a truck. But hopefully this coming week, it'll be getting really close to running. You'll have a good idea of what the finished product is going to look like, and we'll be getting really close to a first fire. So anyways, thank you guys for watching as always. Sorry for the rambling at the end as always, but kind of wanted to give you guys an update. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you doing burnouts very soon. See ya.